What is up, everybody? Finally got a haircut. I'm not as bushy anymore. Let me get Discord open here. Voice call. Bum 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 bum. This guy's face.
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
What's up?
Give me a second here. I gotta put some chapstick on in case Shadowlands face fucks me.
Actually, I'm gonna put some chapstick on at the same time.
Mmm. Peanut butter and gumball. So you have your developer video set at 0 seconds, right?
Yep.
Okay, I'm not ready yet because I gotta. This is kind of like a little movie we're gonna do here. It's 44 minutes and 40 seconds.
We're gonna. Are we gonna do a social distance movie right now?
You hear that? Do you hear that?
Oh, he's got popcorn.
I gotta have this little movie here. I'm ready.
You piece of shit. You didn't make me any.
I got another bag. He come over later and get yourself some. Full screen this bitch. Let me shut this music off. So we don't have that interrupting us. You breathing all loud up in there? Goddamn. Alright, I guess on 3 you wanna start this?
Okay. Like on 3 or like right after 3? You know, like one, two,
That's
three,
always
go.
that's always the real question. Hang on, let me don't do anything. Let me do a test run because I don't know how I do it. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, go. I feel like I need to say go, and we go on go.
Yeah, I go on go.
Because if
Okay.
you just say 1, 2, 3, it's like, wait, are we going?
Yeah. No. 1, 2, 3, go.
Wait,
Press
no,
on
wait,
go.
did you start it? Oh,
No.
I was like, calm the fuck down. Okay,
No. Okay.
can I turn this HD up? Is this on HD?
I don't know.
It's
Look at
on
his face,
HD.
though.
Yeah,
It's a
I
very
know.
nice face. Grr.
Grr. Scurvy, I got the scurvy. All right, on go. 1, 2, 3, go.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Shadowlands live stream.
Anybody on stream,
I'm
let me know about the volume.
producer
If you can't hear him, I'll turn it up.
We have a lot to tell you about today, but first, I want to start by saying thank you to our amazing community.
You're welcome.
Like many of you, our regular routines have been turned upside down since we quarantined in March. We miss seeing our friends, the daily greetings and face-to-face conversations that we took for granted have been replaced by webcam meetings, little windows into each other's homes. When we meet
Can't
this
hear that
way,
all.
we
Let me
often
turn it up.
talk about how COVID-19 and world events are affecting our team and our families. And one of the hardest parts is dealing with a feeling of helplessness.
Let me know if that's better, Kate Eggs.
Initially, we struggled with maintaining a sense of purpose. But ultimately, we draw inspiration from all of you. In a situation where it's easy to feel isolated, our purpose is to help bring people together.
Thank you. He's reading a script, isn't he?
WoW is truly a unique and magical
Why does
place.
he look like he
People can
should probably be
maintain
wearing
the bonds of
glasses with them
friendship
squinty little
across
eyes
physical
like that?
distance
He's reading
by joining
something.
forces to take on epic challenges.
Yeah, he needs some glasses.
Just hang out and talk. In WoW, the journey together is the real reward. Getting an awesome loot upgrade, finally downing a mythic raid boss, defeating the enemy team in the last moments of a battle, all these experiences are memorable because we have each other to share them with. You've rekindled old friendships, made new ones, and gathered in Azeroth to honor fallen comrades.
Hell yeah.
Seeing you all connect in this way has helped us carry on.
Here, I'll do this for you.
WoW is also a place where you can just do your own thing, knowing that you share a common bond with millions of
I
others.
just upped the volume again. Let me know if it's too much. I should be louder than the video, PS.
You want to join up for an adventure or two.
If the video's over me, I'm gonna scream.
Like many of you, we're eager to embark on a new adventure together. You have our commitment. We will be releasing Shadowlands this fall.
Hey!
We'll shipping it from our homes.
I'm so hyped,
again,
dude.
On behalf of the entire WoW team,
Awesome.
thank you.
Glad it's better. I gotta remember to turn that down afterwards.
While this stream is about Shadowlands, before I get to that, I want to remind everyone what's happening in WoW Classic. Later this month, on July 28th, WoW Classic will recreate one of the most talked about events in the game's history, the Encourage War.
Yeah.
Players on every realm across the world will gather resources in a race to be the first to acquire the scepter of the shifting
Oh,
sands
fire them.
and open the gates of Encourage, signaling an epic war with the denizens of this ancient and deadly temple.
I have Game Ghost.
I'm looking
There's a
forward to
lot of new
welcoming
stuff.
all
It's
of our new
crazy.
Scarab Lords.
I'm excited for it,
Now,
honestly.
check this out. I just received our Shadowlands Collector's Edition.
This is dope. I saw this.
You can
Oh, yeah,
see
this is
on the
pretty.
spine of the box,
That's
looks like
Look at
fucking
that.
all the
beautiful.
collector's editions you've seen
Like,
before,
I
except
want to buy
they have these
this.
The
full
rainbow
color
chrome reflection.
Covenant
I
emblems
love it.
on the side. So
Yeah,
look
I
great
want to
on the
buy
shelf
this.
with the other collector's
It's
editions.
gorgeous.
One
I'm
of the
pissed.
really cool
Like,
things about this
I wish I would
box
have waited.
is the front cover.
Oh, look at it.
It's literally exploding with color. This
Yeah, dude.
recreates
That's
the
like,
moment when
I would put that on my
Sylvanas
mantle.
broke the sky
This is
above Icebound
gorgeous.
Citadel, and you can see that cool reflective material.
That's super cool.
Inside, you have
Yeah,
the
I
Epic
kind of want to buy
Edition,
it.
which includes the Ensorcelled Everworm mount, an Anima Wormling pet, a bunch of digital goodies,
We already
and
bought it.
30 days of
That's
game
so
time.
No.
upsetting.
You'll also find, and this is something we know you've all asked for,
What?
so we did one just for Shadowlands, but here's the art book.
I
Beautiful
think that would be really
four-color
cool.
art
Oh,
on every
oh.
page. I'm sorry, full color art on every page, but has all the concept
That's
art and a
gorgeous.
lot of great imagery that are unique to Shadowlands.
It's like simplistic, and I
And so
like
you
it,
can
honestly.
also
It's really pretty.
celebrate Shadowlands at your desk or home office. We have Shadowlands mouse pad.
Got Corsair, but
Matches
it's
the
still dope.
background behind me. And then my favorite
I'm super excited
component
for
this
this X-Pack.
is we actually have a
This
collector's pin
That's so
collection.
cute.
It's fucking
This
cool.
contains a pin for each of the covenants: Kyrian, Venthyr,
Oh,
Necrolords.
yeah, I
and
might just have to
Nightfang.
buy it.
I don't
just
care
off
how
of-
nerdy that is. I would fucking
It
rock
also
those.
includes the
I mean,
soundtrack
yeah.
for Shadowlands, so you can listen to the music of the afterlife
Oh,
wherever you go.
that's so cool. You
You'll
get
be
the music.
experiencing more of Shadowlands very soon. In
Granted,
fact,
it's probably
I'm
like,
pleased
Oh,
to
will we?
announce World of Warcraft Shadowlands will
Yeah.
officially enter beta next week.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Beta
I'm signed up.
participants will be able to experience
Are
the
you?
next level challenges in
Mm-hmm.
Maw,
How
the
do you
most
sign
dangerous
up? How do you
place
sign
in
up?
all the Shadowlands.
I'll show you later. You got to go to your
And one of
settings.
the most rewarding
Okay.
too. To tell you more about our upcoming beta, I'd like to introduce our game director, Ian Hazakostas. On behalf of the WoW
What's up,
team,
Ian?
thank you again for your support.
Dude, thank you. Coming out this fall. I'm hyped.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, John. Thank you for sharing your morning or evening with us, as the case may be. Super hyped to be able to share that collector's edition with everybody. One of my favorite features that John didn't get a chance to mention is that those pins actually have a self-destruct mechanism built in. So pick one carefully.
Stop.
If you want, the other three might vanish instantly. Let's talk a little bit about what is coming up in the beta ahead and Shadowlands in general. So first, I want to look back at the 3 months since we launched our alpha.
It's been 3 months.
About 3 months ago to this day,
Jeez.
the alpha began, and we welcomed thousands of folks from around the world in to begin to share this great project that we've been working on really for the last couple of years. We've at this point journeyed through the 4 main zones of the Shadowlands, seen a glimpse of the Maw, experienced Covenant active abilities, and of course, seen Torghast.
God, the audio is weird.
Our valiant alpha testers have
Did you hear that
completed over
too?
Yeah.
800,000 quests in that time. Over 2,000 unique characters have finished Exile's Reach, our
Wow.
new player experience on the Alliance side, and ventured off to join the Alliance and go to Kultiris. Over 62,000 Torghast runs have been undertaken
Holy
on our alpha
shit.
servers. And alas, just over 11,000 of those ended in the clutches of the Tower Group. So be more careful next time. And crucially, over
Whoa.
64,000 in-game bug reports using our in-game reporting tool have been entered by alpha testers. Our
That's
QA
why there
team
was 3 months of
internally is
alpha.
busy poring over
Yeah.
those. So far, I think they've cataloged something like 1,600 unique bugs that are being tracked in our system as a result of those reports, which will be fixed, of course, by the time Shadowlands comes out.
Oh,
And you
yeah.
know that's just the tip of the iceberg. This is really, an invaluable tool, and every bit of your feedback matters.
You're welcome.
Speaking of feedback, it's not just the feedback within the tool, but also broader discussions on the forums and the community at large, on places like Reddit and Twitter, and the videos folks are making to share reactions, thoughts, and ways in which the experience that they're seeing could be improved. Something that our entire development team is eagerly attentive to.
Why is his eyebrow so
Our
small?
alpha experience and our alpha process
Why
really
are
is
they
a
only
true
half his
alpha.
eye?
For the past weeks, what you have been seeing is the active organic evolution of the game. Sometimes a build might have a change that literally is 5 days old. It's an experiment. It's a solution to some problem that was discovered, and we want to see what reactions are immediately. There's a very quick turnaround time there, and it's a collaborative process between us and the community. And so, we've seen some changes to, for example, the pacing of Torghast and the removal of any sort of the torment system or time limits there. An area in Torghast we've heard a lot about also is, frankly, just how much fun people are having
Okay.
and the grim prospect of only being able to do it a certain number of times a week. I think we'd previously discussed that the Endless Corridors section of Torghast would be completely ungated, but I'm actually happy to announce that at this point we are shifting to completely remove all keying from all the wings of Torghast. And so you can run it to your heart's content.
That's
you wanna
fucking
go
dope.
in, have fun with a buddy, try out a new build, just experience the dynamic gameplay of Torghast. We don't want to get in your way. We'll figure
I like
out a
that.
solution to the reward system there to make sure that you're not required or overly encouraged to endlessly grind it all week. But if you want to do it just because it's fun, we don't want to stop you.
Awesome.
Of course, our class team is listening, and our combat team are listening to the feedback
Is
there. And
Torghast
regular
the
updates coming
dungeon
out
that they
and many
made?
more to follow.
It's
I
is it the
believe
one in the
so.
maw?
Which
I
sculpts the
I
hills
wanna
and the
say
mountains
so.
and the roads that shape
It's
our
the one in the
zones
maw, I think.
are actually eagerly devouring every bit of footage of people playing the alpha they can get their hands on. Often watching people who get turned around or confused or stuck trying to climb up a hill that looks like it should be climbable, and they're instantly going in, fixing those areas for the next build the next week.
Nice.
Every part of the game, our character artists who are looking at reactions to character customizations that are going out and hearing what people are most
Granted,
excited
those are
about,
all
what
really
they wish
cool.
they could have, what options are missing, and doing what they can to add that.
The
So I
character
can't
on the
thank
character
all of you enough, both
customization
the people
screen,
who are
the
in the alpha who have been
like
testing there
effects
for
that
us,
they're using.
but also those who are sharing
That's
their
really
thoughts
cool.
as part of the broader community conversation. The work that goes into Shadowlands is, as much yours as it is ours, truly. So now, turning the corner, looking ahead to what the next weeks will hold as we move
What you
into
got?
our beta. So what does beta mean? For us, beta certainly means the game's not done, but the framework is there and is complete. There shouldn't be missing pieces, giant missing ones where there's an entire feature that's not there, or there's a zone that's not yet playable.
I hope
While
I
those
get
things are
beta.
true, we continue to call it alpha. But we're getting very close to pretty much the framework all being intact, being present. And so the level cap is going to go up to 60 when beta begins. It's also going to mean a first look at our endgame systems, at truly joining a covenant, at visiting your covenant sanctum, playing through that content, playing through our outdoor world max level content, our max level dungeons, our raids, experiencing soulbinds, and more. And there's a lot of work still
I'm
to
not
be
gonna lie,
done
I'm
to
hyped.
flesh out the details of these systems, but
I've been
everything should be
hyped.
there, and that's why we are now calling it beta. Now, perhaps most importantly for many of you, this also means a big new invite wave going out. That's going to start next week, and a process that will continue as we also want to, maintain a lot of concurrency on our test servers, so we can get feedback on what zones feel like when there are dozens or hundreds of people in there competing over spawns, trying to do quests together. So make sure to go to our Battle.net account
I like a
options,
little
check your settings there,
competition,
make
though.
sure that you're opted in to Warcraft beta if that interests you, and be patient. Don't get frustrated if you don't get an email from us right away. We will continue to do invites over the course of the summer. And as John said, of course, this kicks off next week.
Hell
So
yeah.
I want to take
Hell
the rest
yeah.
of our time together just to talk a bit about some of the things that you're going to be seeing as part of that endgame loop. Some of this is stuff that we haven't really had a chance to say much about since BlizzCon, and so I wanted to just share some more
BlizzCon,
details
dude.
and how the
Ugh.
designs have evolved since we last discussed them.
I want to go.
So first off,
Oh,
covenants.
So do I.
As we have said,
I
at
like
great
that,
length,
how you can-
covenants are the centerpiece
that looks
of
clean.
Shadowlands, the Shadowlands expansion. this is where all roads lead. As you journey through the zones of the Shadowlands,
That
you will play through all 4 zones. You will meet the 4 controlling powers of the Shadowlands. You get a chance to borrow their powers, get a sense of their personalities, their ethos, their aesthetic. And at the end of that road, when you hit level
that
60,
aesthetics all
what
that
awaits
matters.
you is this fateful choice as you return to Oribos, now
Oh,
fully
dude.
understanding the stakes that are affecting the Shadowlands and really all of existence, and choose whether you want to cast your lot with the Kyrian of Bastion, the Venthyr of Revendreth, the Necrolords of Maldraxxus, or the Night Fae of Ardenweald.
I thought you had to pick right off the
And
bat.
No,
as
you
you
pick at
make
the
that
end.
That's
choice,
fucking
what
awesome.
that means is
So you get to
unlocking an entire
figure out what you
sphere
like
of
first.
gameplay and content for you. What we've seen so far in Alpha really is just the tip of the iceberg. It's just these couple of active abilities that you get to experience while leveling up. We also made sure to make those testable as early as possible just to get mechanical feedback on them and what felt good and what didn't. But now it's time to see the rest of the iceberg and everything the Covenant
Show it to
entail.
me. Give me
So on
it.
the system side, first off, one of the most prominent immediate things you're going to experience is soulbinds. So soulbinding is this ancient ritual in the Shadowlands whereby 2 souls can link themselves to each other,
This is
sharing
cool.
a portion of
Listen to
their
this.
identity, of their memories, and also of their powers. And so as you join a covenant, you'll be able to form soulbinds with certain key powerful souls that are affiliated with that covenant. These will be characters with vibrant,
Hmm.
memorable personalities, many of which you will have met while leveling up and while questing through those zones. So here, I'm going to use the Venthyr and Revendreth for a lot of these upcoming examples because that's the first covenant that we're going to have playable in an upcoming build. Uh, Nadia, the Mistblade, she was a renowned duelist in life, and that persona really shapes all of her abilities and the ways in which she's going to
Okay.
enhance your
I'm
combat
glad they have
ability,
like
grant you
backstory.
utility, and more. Um, and so what each soulbind represents, as you can see in this slide, it's effectively a talent tree that you will traverse down as you gain power in your covenant. You can pick which path you want to go down, customize your gameplay, customize those abilities to suit your gameplay. Now you may be noticing the empty slots in this tree. That's where you're going to put these items that are called conduits. Now, for those who played Legion, you may remember relics that you put into your artifact weapon. These are fairly
Mm-hmm.
similar. Conduits are going to be items that you can get
Those are
from
okay.
dungeon bosses, raids, PvP, a wide array of max level item sources. And unlike the soulbind traits, which are universal, where an arms warrior and a holy priest have the same traits if you have Naji as your soulbind, conduits are spec specific. They will
Ah,
do things like improve your ignore pain or your rejuvenation or whatever you choose to slot it. There are different conduit types. Some are going to focus on increasing your throughput, like your damage and healing.
there's gonna be a lot of
Others are more about
OP builds,
survival.
dude.
Others are about utility. Again, this is letting you mix and match to choose the gameplay and the loadout that really best suits whatever you're looking to do on a given evening in World of Warcraft. Now, unlike Covenants, which themselves are a very weighty choice and not something that's lightly switched, Soulbinds have a great deal of flexibility, both in terms of respecking them at a nominal cost, nothing escalating like how Azerite was in Battle for Azeroth, or just switching from one soulbind to another, the same way you might respec or switch talents. Truly, the idea here is to have a range of options, and you pick what suits you for what you're looking to do right now. Now, as you join the Sanctum, as you join the Covenant, a key way in which you're going to progress within your Covenant is by gaining Renown. Renown will deepen your connection with your soulbinds. It will also unlock a wide range of features, rewards,
Is that the
followers, which
new
we'll talk
rep?
about in a little bit, um,
I wonder.
cosmetics, and more. You'll earn renown by, on a weekly basis, going out into the world, gathering anima, this precious lifeblood of the Shadowlands that every covenant is starving for, or by going into the Maw
Suck the
and
anima right out
rescuing
of you.
tormented souls that really rightfully belonged in your covenant, in your realm, but that were instead cast into the Maw because of how the machine of death is broken. This isn't an open-ended grind. This isn't like artifact power. This is a more metered progression as you're working on behalf of your covenant. And we're making sure that really from the start, the moment Shadowlands launches, we have robust catch-up systems built in, whether you are an alt, someone who's switched covenants, or someone who's just late coming to the game. We don't want you to feel like you're behind,
I
like you
dig
have
that,
some
especially
catch-up
for alts.
calendar. But Renown is a primary way in which you will progress through the systems of the Covenant, including soulbinds, but also some stuff I'm about to talk about next. So each Covenant has a sanctum. Now these are, there's loose inspiration is drawn here from things like the garrisons back in Warlords or the class halls in Legion. Each sanctum is the base of operations for that Covenant, and this is a place where you're actually likely to begin and end most of your gameplay sessions once you're at max level. Each sanctum has a number of features to it that you can upgrade, but really restore to functionality. Because I think what we're going to learn as we venture through the Shadowlands is that this was a vibrant place that had its own ecosystem and politics and people with various pastimes.
That's what I don't
All this has
understand.
been thrown into disarray as a drought plagues the land.
So
Everything's withering,
Shadowlands used to
starved
be
of anima, and
like
chaos
a
reigns,
regular
consuming the
place.
Shadowlands. And you, as a
Well,
champion of your Covenant, will be working to restore that order.
See,
Restore
because he's
things to
talking
how
about
they
we got to
once
restore
were.
it. I thought like
And that
that's
will be
just how
largely
it was.
accomplished by getting anima, rescuing
no.
souls from the
Is it a
mob,
balance
and
between Azeroth and
restoring,
Shadowlands?
activating these
I think
structures.
so.
One of
Okay.
them
Like
that every
Shadowlands is
Covenant has
obviously
is a
like
transportation
the
network. So
death.
within your own zone,
It's
if
the
you're a
other
member of the Ninth
side.
Fae or an Ardenweald, there's a complex route network that lets you quickly access different parts of the zone. The Venthyr and Revendreth have a network of blood mirrors that can basically teleport you around. We want to make it so that, particularly if this is something you're investing in, you feel most at home, most comfortable in your zone if you're a member of that given Covenant, because that is where your powers are greatest, that is where your Covenant's influence is greatest. Another structure that every Covenant has is something called an anima conductor. So as I've mentioned, part of the plight of the Shadowlands is this lack of anima. Groves in Ardenweald that were once flourishing with magical energy are now desiccated, withered. Temples in Bastion lie dormant, deactivated. The constructs that once guarded them are inactive. Anima is the answer to all of
Kale
those things.
Thoth's already done with
And
this
so
shit, and
what
he's
you're
back
doing
in
as
it.
you bring it back to your Covenant, to your Sanctum, is pooling it in a reservoir, but you also have the ability to direct the flow of anima outward toward your zone to regrow, reactivate these dormant parts of the space. Now, what that means in gameplay terms is you can send a stream of anima over to an area, which will enable quests, treasures, events, outdoor world content in that area for you based on your choice on a given day. As you upgrade your anima conductor, you'll have more options that you can unlock. And as you engage in the system in general, you can progress towards permanently enabling and reactivating these spaces, both so that you have the content available for you, but also so that you see the world change around you to an extent. This grove that once was withered and dead in Ardenweald will once again be blooming and flourishing with anima
I
energy,
like that.
thanks to your efforts.
So there's
and
so
the
much
events that
to
were
do
there
in
will now always
Endgame.
be up for
There's
you.
gonna be a lot of
That's not just
phasing, but
raiding.
yeah, because it seems like
The
you
third
keep
system
changing
that
the world
every
to make it,
Covenant
in
has
theory, better and
is
better.
a scouting map.
Uh-huh.
This is an extension of the mission system that we first introduced back in Warlords of Draenor, and we've kind of tinkered with that formula a couple times since then. And I think the basic loop there, we've moved away from its central importance that it
I don't
had
like
in
how this
Warlords. I think
looks.
we're not looking to go back to the Warlords era version of this being a source of the best raid gear in the game or what have you. But it's an outlet for some storytelling, some offline progression. So you have something waiting for you where you log in, and something that you can maybe check in on in shorter sessions. But we want to add more depth to the system than what we've had in the last couple of expansions. What we have previously really is just, it boils down to a coin flip. You're doing a simple matching game, matching counters to threats.
True.
And maybe you get up to 170% success chance to get your bonus reward, and hope you get lucky. And really, if you didn't, there's nothing you could have done better, nothing you did right or wrong, and you either succeed or fail. We want to re-envision the foundations of that system to be something that is a better analog to the fantasy that we're trying to convey. The way a mission works in Warcraft isn't a coin flip. The way combat works in Warcraft, when you're sending these champions out into a dangerous area, isn't success or failure. It's nuanced gameplay with tanks and healers and melee DPS and range DPS as a part of the combatants fight a bunch of enemies.
That's kind of cool.
And so this is an abstracted form of that type of combat. It still will happen while you're offline, but there's a turn-based system here where you will level up your soulbinds, recruit additional champions and adventurers to bolster their ranks, and send troops custom based on your covenant out to complete these missions and obviously bring back some of that sweet loot that you're looking for. There's a lot of depth to the system. We're going to have a early peek at it in our next couple of builds, and we'll continue to add more breadth to it over the course of the beta. Really curious to hear initial hands-on impressions, and as always with all of our features, we want to jump in and react quickly to whatever feedback we hear. As before, adventures will also be supported in our mobile companion app, which will be updated for Shadowlands at the time of the expansion's release.
I like that companion app.
Now, those 3 features
know
that I
you
just
do.
talked about are something
Not
that
gonna
every
lie.
covenant has access to.
It's
They
like
are
WoW in my
universal.
pocket.
But each covenant also has a 4th structure that is unique depending on which covenant you've joined. Now, I've been using Leventhyr a lot for as these examples, so let's start with them. If you are a Venthyr in Revendreth, you also have this 4th section of your sanctum known as the Ember Court. Now, what the Ember Court is, it's a hosting venue for pretty rad parties. If the culture of Revendreth, certainly before things really went off the rails in the events leading up to this expansion, was one of elegance, aristocracy, a lot of those tropes surrounding nobility. And part of what that means is showing off your influence by hosting grand galas for the most important individuals, not just from Revendreth, but from across the Shadowlands as a whole. And the Venthyr were notorious for this. Now, your ally, as you join the Venthyr, Prince Renethal, is looking to reestablish himself, to reestablish a new order, and showing off his growing influence and stature in that area.
He
And
wants
you're
to
going
be
to help him
bougie.
out as a loyal member of his covenant. And the way that's going to play out is what's effectively, a self-contained minigame where you can go out, seek out guests, invite them to the party, not maybe literally arrange catering, but figure out the different services that are going to make those guests happy.
This is
Play through the party
odd.
in real time, maybe fending off party crashers
It was a
that are
little
trying to
odd, but I
disrupt
mean,
But I
festivities.
kind of
like,
dig
And
it.
at the end of the day,
yeah.
maximizing the happiness of
It's
all your
making it
guests.
so they
And
give you
ideally,
so
if
many
they're
things to
happy,
do during
on the way
Endgame,
out,
where like
they'll
right
give you a
now
token
there's
of their
just
gratitude in the form
nothing.
of, well,
Oh yeah,
sweet
but
Warcraft
watch,
loot.
they'll do all these little mini
But to be
games.
clear, this is not gloom
And
and doom,
one
life
second.
or death, saving the Shadowland stuff.
Mm.
This is just a fun side activity.
Yeah, side activity,
that
exactly.
has a remarkable
Yeah,
amount of
people are
depth to
still
it,
going to be like,
but
"There's
it's
nothing
there
to do in this game."
allow us to flesh out the culture and the personality and the identities of these covenants, of these areas. You're not going to defeat the jailer by throwing the most badass party in the Shadowlands, but
Bet.
that is part of what being a Venthyr is.
Can I invite
Now,
the
if on
jailer
the
to my
other
party?
hand, you join the
Huh.
Kyrian in Bastion, their unique feature is called the Path of Ascension. Now, the Path of Ascension is driven by this unique soul mirror, whereby you can actually inhabit the consciousness of one of your soulbinds. So you can play, let's say, as the aspirant Pelagos, with a unique set of abilities, and go through a series of trials, gladiatorial combat against the most powerful souls of the Shadowlands that you will also go out in your adventures across the world and recruit and capture and bring back to
Okay,
fight within the Path of Ascension.
that sounds fucking
This is
cool.
a self-contained, combat-heavy system that has a little bit of a boss rush feel to it. For those of you who are very old school, if you remember the Chartoul event way back in Burning Crusade in Blades Edge Mountains, this is loosely inspired by that. It's the same kind of vibe, and this is available to members of the Kyrian. Now, if you join the Necrolords of Maldraxxus,
Oh, this was
Yeah,
cute.
let's hear this.
Necrolords
I saw
are,
this.
and Maldraxxus is the source of the military might of the Shadowlands. This is a lot of the power that we saw manifested by the Scourge in the great floating necropolises like Naxxramas, and abominations like Patchwork and ghouls and geists,
Bibsy.
and the art of creating those creatures, the art of necromancy,
I think
is
this is
most
where I'm
closely
gonna send
affiliated with Maldraxxus.
Mipsy.
And so the structure you have as a member of the Necrolords is called the Abomination Factory. And this is a system whereby
I thought you'd go
you
to
can
Venthyr.
build
Not
fleshwork
on Mipsy.
creatures, essentially, whether it's an abomination or a ghoul or a geist, to be the perfect housing for a soul that's in need of a physical form. Now, these souls have quirks and unique personalities and interests and abilities. So as you meet them, figure out what the right form for them is, and create a body for them to house, you can then adventure with them, unlocking various perks ranging from utility, extra gathering bonuses, to some combat perks in the outdoor world.
So
And
you can
again,
make a
as
companion.
always, this is
Pretty
available to
much.
Necrolords only. And finally, if you're a member of the Night Fae of Ardenweald,
If you're going
Ardenweald
Night Fae, what are you
contains in
doing?
its innermost reaches
You're
a
playing a
sacred
druid.
grove known as the Queen's
Yeah, I
Conservatory.
would say
This is
I'm
where
planning on playing a
powerful
druid for that one.
souls effectively germinate, rest, are infused
Might
with the
take my rogue
surrounding
there.
energies of the forest, and are prepared for rebirth and return to the world of the living, because
I
that is the
figured
essential function,
Venthir
one of
would
the
be a
essential
rogue.
properties of Ardenweald. Now,
Maybe.
the form that that takes for you as a player, this is effectively a soul garden, and it
I'd
is
see more your shaman
inspired
there.
and has some parallels to the farm back
Good
in
point.
Mists of Pandaria, where you are tending your own plants. You are
The farm was my
expanding them, upgrading
favorite.
them, being able to effectively fertilize them with different catalysts that are going to shape the
There you
consciousness of
go.
these souls
They bring in
as
the
you
farm
nurture them back to
back.
life. So it's a bit more magical, but at the end of the day, its own branch of
Farming
self-contained gameplay.
souls, man.
And really, one of the core ideas behind this variety of features is to, reinforce the breadth of what Covenant choice is all about, and to make your experience slightly different from that of your peers as you journey through the
I
Shadowlands.
like that.
Or when you're jumping on an alt and checking out a different Covenant, giving you a whole set of new fresh systems.
Because you know that's
to
going to do,
explore
right?
and experience there.
You're going to be
So,
playing one,
we'll
I'm going
have
to play the
a lot
other,
more to talk about with
and we're
settings
going to
and deep
hype each
dive
other up, and you're
blogs
going to be like,
on
oh shit, I
individual
want to
pieces
play
of
that. And then
these
I'd be like, oh,
over
I
the
want to
course
play
of the
yours.
summer
And
as
then
the
we're
build
going to be
progresses,
all over the place
but
with our
that's
alts.
an overview of some of
I
the
know
new
we
stuff
are.
you're going to be seeing in Covenants.
Our alts are
as
going to
beta
be all
begins.
over the place, and we're going to
Now,
have
some
so
other
much
new
to
Oh,
do with
here's
content.
a
all of
We are
them,
going
but
to
it's
have coming up
Here's a
our
dungeon.
last dungeon that we have not yet revealed, a max level dungeon
I like the
called
name.
Theater of Pain.
Mm,
Theater of Pain is a dungeon in the center of Maldraxxus,
sounds fucking
and
hot.
this is really, it's an epic arena, and the dungeon takes place during an important event. There's this regularly recurring battle royale, effectively, where all of the war houses of Maldraxxus send their greatest champions to fight it out, and to prove who is the strongest, who is the most
Those
powerful of all.
abominations look
Because
awesome.
that's a lot of what Maldraxxus is about. It's might makes right is the
Ugh.
prevailing ethos there, and demonstrations of power and military might and
Like
cunning.
they actually look
Now, this
scary.
has, there are particularly complex layers to what's going on right now, given the strife that's gripping the Shadowlands, that make these particular games
I just want to know where's
perhaps the most
Arthas.
important in the
Like,
weirdest in recent memory. And you find
just want to
yourself
know
as
if
an
we're going to
adventurer,
meet,
as a
or
party of
like
adventurers,
we're going to find
plunged
Arthas.
into this conflict.
Here's the
And the
thing.
way that's going to play out is a very non-linear dungeon
You
experience.
cannot
as
have
you choose which of the different
Fordring
factions you're going
as
to
the Lich King
engage
in
with first,
Shadowlands
as you
without
traverse,
Arthas having a
the
connection.
catacombs and the tunnels
I
beneath the
know.
arena, ultimately culminating in a final encounter where we'll see if you, or well, the five of you, can emerge victorious as the ultimate champions of the Theater of Pain.
The Ultimate Fighter.
And as with all things
That's super
Maldraxxus,
cool.
the prevailing decor here is super metal, so expect more of that as you enter this dungeon.
It's like spines.
Next up,
I like
we are
it.
going
Oh,
to
here
be
we go.
revisiting the outdoor space of the Maw. So this is really where it all began for us in the Shadowlands. We just saw a couple of weeks ago in Alpha that initial venture into the Maw, the domain of the jailer, as we went in from Icecrown Citadel, not knowing what was going to await us on the other side. What we found was a horrific array of forces that we can't hope to overcome. We just barely escaped from the jailer's clutches and made it out into Oribos. We
God,
could
it looks
then
so cool. It's
explore
like
the rest of the Shadowlands. Well,
looks
now,
like
as
Mortal
we hit level
Kombat
60, as we
Deception,
were
which
max
is an
level,
awesome
with the power
game.
of a Covenant behind us, it's going to be time for us to return to this place where it all began, to go into the Maw, with the
Because
goal
now we level
of
60, we gonna beat
investigating,
that ass.
But this
exploring,
reminds
trying to
me
understand
of,
more
how like
what the
in
jailer is
Legion
up
they
to
did the
and how we
broken,
might
not the
thwart those
broken shore,
plans.
but Argus.
Fortunately,
Like
early
that
on
was
in our visits
your
into the
end
Maw,
thing.
we're going to
You know what I mean?
encounter
Mm-hmm.
probably the one singular being in all of the Maw who doesn't actively want to kill us, at least as far as we can tell. This mysterious broker known as Venari.
Ooh.
Venari is kind of huddled away in a small cave in the outer reaches of the Maw, and you will be able to work with her to investigate and explore, gather precious
She got a fat
artifacts and
ass, I wonder.
resources from throughout the Maw
Jesus.
that will maybe make it a little bit more of a hospitable place for you, give you more information, increase your ability to traverse the Maw, as well as improve your effectiveness in Torghast. The Maw is really inspired by a lot of our more sandboxy endgame content in the past. Most recently, probably Mechagon from the Rise of Ashara patch that we
What
had
does that
in
mean?
the middle of Battle for Azeroth.
Sandboxy.
But those roots go all the way back to places like Timeless Isle. This isn't a place where you're going to bring up your map and see a bunch of world quests and clear direction. It's more about a loose structure, general broad objectives, and then lots and lots of discoverable gameplay.
I like
So we
that.
can't wait
Hell yeah.
to have people jump in here, let us know what you think. And one of the really fun challenges in creating this experience was trying to create gameplay that reflects the fantasy of the space. You are not welcome here. This is not a place full of flight paths and inns to set your Hearthstone and people who are welcoming you at every turn. Everything in the Maw rejects your very existence and presence there. You do not belong here. And everything you do is under the watchful eye of the jailer, where if you raise a bit too much of a ruckus, you are engaging in you're making a bit too much noise, fighting too many big champions, calling the attention of the jailer upon you, you're going to need to beat a hasty retreat if you want to get out there
Dude,
and if you want to escape with your life and your
that's
hard-won
fucking
earnings
cool.
intact.
So
So I'd
if
like
you
to share with
draw
you
too much
And your
a
hard-won
aggro,
video. This is
earnings
just a
intact.
look
Did you
at
hear
what the
that?
Maw is like in motion.
oh, it takes them from you. Oh,
That's what he just said.
look at this. Look at that little thing on the left.
I know.
Oh god, this got Bipsy and Mipsy written all over it.
Here we
Oh,
go.
look at that armor!
Oh my god.
This is fucking... Oh, look at that shit right there. That's Mips all the way right there. That fire. That dude looks
Gypsy and
fucking cool.
Mipsy gonna
That
take this place by storm.
looked like Diablo, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
All right, so yeah,
Nope.
it's like a super desolate place, but awe-inspiring in a terrible way. So those are some of the specifics that we've just covered. I also want to lay out a bit more of what lies ahead as beta unfolds across the summer. Later this month, we'll be kicking off formal raid testing of our Castle Nathria raid. This is a 10-boss raid in the zone of Revendreth.
I want to
We're
raid
ultimately
so
going to
bad.
face off against the Venthyr Lord Denathrius, who is
I
one of
wish
the
we
major
could get
power
into a better
players in
guild. That way
Shadowlands.
we could.
It's just incredible.
Honestly.
Or at least
Gothic
have a
fantasy.
decent guild
Our
to do it.
encounter team and our dungeon art team had a blast making this. We can't wait to get people in there. As always, we'll have focused testing windows for normal, heroic, mythic, and raid finder difficulties. And as we get on in the beta, we'll be looking to specifically have some targeted invites for experienced raiders who can give us the feedback that we need to get the tuning right on difficulties like Mythic. Also later this month, we'll be kicking off Shadowlands Mythic Keystone Dungeons. We want to get these
I don't know if I
in
care
your
for
hands
Keystones,
as quickly
honestly.
as possible. As soon
I
as
never
max
got
level
into
content
it.
is
I want to
unlocked,
do the
we want to
dungeon. I don't
enable
want all
Mythic
this stupid
Keystones. We'll
stuff
probably have a
happening.
vendor that just sells Keystones directly, just
But
to
I get it.
facilitate
People want it
testing.
more difficult. So that's what
Early
they
on,
came
we
up
just want
with.
to get initial feedback on how our dungeons are playing with the core Mythic Plus affixes, so we can hear quickly, where things like bolstering or
That's
necrotic or bursting are extra frustrating, and make sure that we're making any tweaks early on to make the experience that you have ultimately when Shadowlands comes out the best one possible. Later on in beta, we'll also be revealing for focus testing our first Shadowlands seasonal affix, as well as some potential other tweaks to the system. Legendary rune crafting is something we're really excited to let people get their hands on. This is something we talked about way back at BlizzCon, and this is the expression of legendary items in Shadowlands. So
Okay.
for those of you who remember
Like
Legion,
legendary stuff.
and really throughout the history of World of Warcraft, some of the coolest loot we've ever made has had that orange color, orange border. When you see a legendary item, it's usually something that's going to transform your gameplay
Yeah, you
and
bust a
unlock
nut.
an all new level of power within you. And one of the big points of feedback that we got that was frustrating in Legion was centered around how these items were obtained and the lack of control over obtaining them. There might be an item that was tremendously powerful, you'd seen videos featuring it, you were really excited to get it, but there was nothing you could do to earn it, you felt, unless you got lucky. Shadowlands is really aiming from the outset to address those concerns and to give you a ton of agency and control over how you seek out and earn your legendaries. So early on, as you venture into Torghast, Tower of the Damned, you're going to encounter this mysterious runesmith who's chained up, shackled in a Hannibal Lecter-style cell in the bowels of Torghast. And what you'll learn pretty early on is that this runesmith wields some of the same power, that power of domination that was once used to craft incredible artifacts like Frostmourne or the now shattered helm of the Lich King.
Uh-oh.
And by recovering essence from Torghast, as well as scraps of this ancient runic knowledge that you can bring back to the smith and awaken locked away memories,
I saw a
the
theory
runesmith will be able to
earlier
make
that I'll
for
mention
you
later.
to imbue an
Okay,
item
yeah,
with
after all
power
of this,
that
we'll
you
talk
get
about
from
stuff.
a tailor, blacksmith, leatherworker, depending on your armor type. The runesmith can make a legendary of your choice for you. That way you can look at those amazing
So
bracers or
professions are a
gloves or
thing
boots
again.
or whatever you're seeking and work
So
towards
apparently I
it,
need a
earn it,
profession.
and then
Yeah, get a
begin your next
profession.
project.
Tonight,
A
just
lot of
max
these
it out.
legendary powers
Right?
are throwbacks to some fan favorites from across really the past dozen years. Everything from Legion legendaries to old set bonuses to powers that are
Ashbringer.
brand new Torghast powers that you'll be able to use temporarily within Torghast, but sometimes permanently imbue a legendary item with. Because part of the idea is really this ancient runic art is the source of many of those powers, items from the Shadowlands that have found their way out into the world over the years. And finally, they can be yours. Covenant campaigns. So I didn't touch on this when we were talking about covenants earlier, but each covenant, once you join them, has a max level narrative quest arc associated with it. This is similar to the war campaign that we had in Battle for Azeroth, where there was an alliance campaign and a horde campaign. This time around, there are 4 distinct campaigns of roughly that size and scope, depending on your covenant. And through playing through this, you will earn cosmetic rewards for your covenant, unlock an additional soulbind, and really
That'll be neat.
experience the full extent of your covenant's perspective on the world and the events of the Shadowlands. Also, before too long in beta, we want to kick off some focused PvP testing. We want to set up an environment
Ooh,
where we can
hold up.
unlock all of these systems. We're not trying to test the progression and the rate at which you earn them here, but we want to just let you have access to soulbinds, conduits, legendaries, all the rest, and get early and rapid iteration on arena, battlegrounds, just general PvP combat
Okay.
testing at max level, so that we can make sure that we're both reining in any outliers, but also just dialing in the overall pacing of combat. No one likes those matches that go into super high dampening. The other end of the spectrum, no one wants matches that are over in 20 seconds in some crazy burst or proc window. So the earlier we can get that in front of you, the sooner we can start really dialing it into what it needs to be. As part of that also, it's kind of the opposite end of the spectrum, we do want to test the pacing of progression and rewards and the rate at which things are earned. And to make that as organic as possible, we'll be probably wiping the existing characters that people have had in the alpha environment probably by the end of this month, and enabling character copies, which will set up end-to-end testing as you can come in with your characters from Battle for Azeroth, level up through Shadowlands, replace your gear organically,
Yeah, did you
earn the
hear
rewards
that?
you're going to earn, and start giving us feedback on how all
So
of that
you could
feels.
character
So I think
copy
one of the things that
Mipsy
we've learned
into the
over the
Shadowlands
years of
beta.
making these expansions
Oh, good.
is there's a whole lot that goes into them. There's a ton of moving parts, there's a ton of systems, and we can make our best guesses as to how players are going to interact with them. But there's no real substitute for having the whole thing stood up end to end and having people go through it. And rather than having those regrets that we sometimes have a month or two into an expansion where we realize that we missed the mark on some aspect of that progression, we want to really do as much of it as possible during beta so that when the game comes out for real, it's everything that it needs to be. And that's really the theme of the month ahead. We have some work to do to finish fleshing out the structures that we just
Flesh it
described,
out, dude.
but most of the rest is going to be
That
polish,
fleshlight action, you know what I'm
responsive
saying?
feedback,
Jesus.
iteration, and finally, tuning. I'm going to talk a little bit about tuning because I
Talk
know it's
to
a
me.
hot topic. Balance is always, the most controversial, one of the most central topics in community discussion, and has been forever in WoW. Tuning is the last thing that we do. In the early parts of alpha and beta, we're basically just looking for extreme outliers. Where things might
Down-tune
be so
demon
far out of whack,
hunters,
they disrupt the
please.
feedback that we get. If something is so overpowered that it trivializes content, well, we have to fix that. Otherwise, all of our feedback on, let's say, Torghast is going to be tainted because someone's walking through one-shotting things. Or if something is so weak that it doesn't matter if it's theoretically fun, it feels terrible to use, or no one wants to use it, we don't get feedback on it, we need to fix that. But beyond that, we really want to focus first on shoring up the conceptual foundations of what we're building. We want to make sure that the abilities, the systems, and everything else feel fun, that they sound exciting as ideas. And then once we've gotten to a place where we're confident in those foundations, the natural next step is to dial them in so that they're well tuned. And so if you're looking at the way things are in alpha now and saying to yourself that, I don't know, hypothetically speaking, the best choices are 40% better than what you might pick if you were just trying to, go after what looks fun, that's because there's a key part of the process here that just hasn't happened yet. Now, I don't want to say, just wait until after beta, it's only beta. We sometimes get that wrong too, but there's a deliberate process that we approach for a reason. Because we want to make sure that we're using the majority of our bandwidth to fix bad ideas rather than potentially trying to polish something that ultimately is fundamentally flawed. So, for example, we've heard a lot of feedback recently on the Ardenweald Paladin ability, the Covenant ability, Blessing of Seasons. And we tried a couple different versions of that. Ultimately, we're at this point going to go back to the drawing board and fundamentally redesign the way that ability works, because it has some fundamental flaws that make it very challenging to balance, but also not even necessarily as fun as we'd hoped it would be. And so having put a lot of effort into tuning that would have potentially masked an underlying problem, or at best just been a distraction from the more important work that we could have been doing in the meantime. And so as the sort of original creative work of Shadowlands comes to a close, as we move out of that phase, the phase that lies ahead of us is going to have lots and lots of tuning and polish that will continue all the way up to the launch of the expansion later this year.
Yeah.
So I just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us today.
Dude, you're welcome.
And I also want to thank you all for your patience. We'd originally planned on doing this stream a month ago, and back then we would have had somewhat different material. But we postponed it then to avoid distracting from a more important conversation. But of course,
Good
that
point.
conversation
Okay.
is still happening. Injustice doesn't cease just because we look away. Black Lives Mattered a month ago. Black Lives Matter today. And if that phrase is difficult to hear, know that I and others who speak those words aren't saying that your life has any less worth. We're only calling attention to the ways in which our societies seem to need a reminder that Black Lives Matter. Now, as John said earlier, these are extraordinarily difficult times. We all have our own struggles, and we can often help by simply listening with open hearts. So be kind to one another, stay safe, and we'll see you in Azeroth and in the Shadowlands beyond. Thank you.
Yeah. I actually really like the way he put that last part, but the whole thing overall was lit.
I mean, yeah.
Let me tell you about the
Let me hear
theory
this.
I
Let
heard.
me hear this theory.
And so at the point where he was talking about that blacksmith, right?
Yeah.
Well, somebody was saying that within Shadowlands, somebody is going to have to reforge another helm of damnation because
Ooh.
something, maybe not a helm, but something needs to be created to once again control the scourge.
You're not wrong.
So people are like, well, we're in Shadowlands where the helm was originally made.
And
what?
there's a reason, obviously, why he said Frostmourne and the helm.
Yeah, he was, because that's where the the powers and all that shit came from. Is what they're hinting at here, but like,
Ooh. So you think we're gonna have to reforge?
I don't know how it would work if that's what happens. It's really hard to talk about it because is Fordring gonna stay the Lich King?
Yeah. I
Because
mean,
I'm gonna look something up while you word that out.
it's just one of those things where the Lich King has always been seen as bad.
That's
You know
the
what I
thing.
mean?
And see, Fordring he obviously is a good guy,
Uh-huh.
but he's being corrupted more and more the longer he's the Lich King. But now he doesn't have the helmet, so is he gonna go back to normal? And then if they make a helm, is he gonna be like, I don't want to fucking do that again? Like, obviously that sounds like a lackluster
Well,
story, but they could. It's something like that, honestly.
somebody's gonna have to take the helm. Is the whole thing. Somebody has to control the Scourge. And I mean, he's already been doing it. That'd be the logical thing. And it'd be a really sad interaction between him and his daughter, because you definitely know that they got to bring that all in. There's no reason to tell the world who Talia is, unless you're gonna go somewhere with that.
That's the issue, man.
You left me for dead. Here it comes. I need
Oh.
What?
Oh, we got a new tier 1 subscription by just 4495.
Oh.
Hey, thank you for that, man. I definitely appreciate it. Let me put you on the board here. It was silent for quite a while there. And then you made it lively. Let's see here. Just... Is that 4495? 495 with a solid sub. Well, bam. Thank you very, very much. For
Need any gold for it. I don't need money for it.
First Coomp. First
Take the
Coomp
money back.
with
I
the
really don't need
follow.
the money.
Thank you for the follow first. Didn't even see this little
Here,
bastard.
hold on, wait. No. Yoffie, come here. Take the mallet.
Take the mallet.
Take the mallet.
And
You can have it. if
Thank
want
you.
it.
for another follow-up follow. I'll get you guys on the board here in a minute. I don't want to let this group die. I was going to hear about it all night. Y'all fighting over that mallet still?
No. I wonder if those are guilties.
I want to say so.
I think so.
And with Siafi with the third follow-up. Look at that. Thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Alright, everybody. Look at that. We have a full goddamn board today. What do we got here? We got just 4495 with a little tier 1 subscription. Thank you for that, my guy. We got a first Coomp with a solid follow, followed by a Kalukuku with another follow, and our third follow from Siafi10. Thank you to the guildies on those. And then we have Northern Light with his 2-month subscription. Thank you guys. It is highly appreciated as always. That's freaking awesome. I'll get that posted on my Instagram and I'll throw it in the highlight video as always. That should be done hopefully tomorrow, unless I decide to be lazy, then Sunday. Next stream will be on Sunday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So until then, I'll see you guys.